The Toyota CEO stepped onto the stage, and within minutes, the entire car market felt the shockwave. No hype, no fluff, just a calm announcement that instantly made competitors nervous. The 2026 Toyota RAV4 isn't just a refresh, it's a strategic strike aimed straight at the heart of the global SUV market. And the message was clear: Toyota is done playing defense. Toyota confirmed the 2026 RAV4 is built on a heavily evolved platform designed to survive the chaos of tightening emissions rules, rising prices, and an EV market that's starting to wobble. The CEO made it clear this RAV4 isn't chasing trends, it's exploiting their weaknesses. While rivals gamble everything on full EV lineups, Toyota doubled down on what buyers actually want right now: flexibility, reliability, and real-world affordability. The powertrain announcement alone stunned the industry. Toyota revealed that hybrid is no longer the upgrade option, it's the standard. The base RAV4 now comes electrified, pushing fuel economy into territory that makes traditional gas SUVs look outdated overnight. At the same time, Toyota teased a next-generation plug-in hybrid system with longer electric range and faster charging, quietly putting pressure on EV-only brands that are already struggling with demand drops. Then came the design reveal, and it wasn't subtle. The 2026 RAV4 looks tougher, wider, and more purposeful, clearly borrowing confidence from Toyota's off-road lineup. This isn't a soft city crossover anymore. It's a vehicle designed to appeal to buyers who want SUV presence without SUV-sized fuel bills. Toyota knows image sells, and this time they didn't play it safe. Inside, the CEO highlighted a complete reset. Physical buttons are back where they matter, screens are larger but smarter, and Toyota openly admitted that customers were tired of overcomplicated interiors. That admission alone sent a message across the industry. While other brands chase gimmicks, Toyota is quietly reversing mistakes and calling it innovation, but the real market shock came when pricing was mentioned. Toyota strongly hinted that despite inflation, tariffs, and supply chain pressure, the 2026 RAV4 will undercut rivals while offering more standard tech. That statement landed like a bomb. Automakers already struggling to justify $40,000 compact SUVs now face a brutal question. How do you compete with Toyota when Toyota decides to compete on price again? Dealers reacted instantly. Analysts started revising forecasts in real time. The RAV4 isn't just Toyota's bestseller, it's the backbone of multiple regional markets. And a radical upgrade here doesn't just affect one segment, it ripples across the entire industry. Compact SUVs, hybrids, even entry-level EVs are now directly threatened by this single announcement. The CEO closed by reminding everyone that Toyota isn't chasing headlines, it's chasing volume, stability, and long-term dominance. And that's what makes the 2026 RAV4 so dangerous. It's not revolutionary in one flashy way, it's strategically superior in every way that actually matters to buyers. And as the applause faded, one thing became obvious across boardrooms, dealerships, and rival headquarters. The SUV market just shifted, and the full impact of the 2026 Toyota RAV4 is only starting to sink in. What makes this announcement even more unsettling for competitors is the timing. The car market is already under pressure, inventories are piling up, incentives are exploding, and consumer confidence is fragile. Into that chaos, Toyota just dropped a product that feels perfectly aligned with the moment. The 2026 RAV4 isn't arriving late to the party, it's arriving when buyers are pulling back and demanding value again. Toyota's CEO didn't directly name rivals, but everyone knew who was being targeted. Compact EV crossovers with weak resale values, turbocharged gas SUVs with reliability questions, and brands forced to slash prices just to move metal. By standardizing hybrid power, Toyota effectively rewrote the entry point of the segment. Buyers no longer have to upgrade to save fuel, they save fuel by default. The engineering details quietly revealed were just as disruptive. Toyota confirmed major gains in thermal efficiency, improved battery durability, and lower long-term ownership costs. That last point matters more than anything. While other automakers brag about horsepower numbers and giant screens, Toyota is selling peace of mind, and historically, that's what wins in uncertain economies. The plug-in hybrid RAV4 drew particular attention. Toyota hinted at an electric-only range that finally makes daily commuting possible without burning fuel, while still keeping the gas engine as a safety net. That directly challenges the logic of buying a full EV for many households. If you can drive electric all week and refuel in minutes for road trips, suddenly range range anxiety disappears, and so does the need for expensive charging infrastructure. Toyota also leaned heavily into manufacturing discipline. The CEO emphasized localized production, simplified supply chains, and fewer experimental components. This wasn't a technical detail, it was a warning. Toyota is preparing to build these in massive numbers at controlled costs, while others are still dealing with recalls, software delays, and factory slowdowns. Even safety became a strategic weapon. The 2026 RAV4 adds advanced driver assistance features as standard that competitors often lock behind expensive trim levels. Toyota framed it as a moral obligation, but the market heard it as a competitive threat. More value at lower trims means less room for rivals to upsell without losing customers. What's really causing anxiety across the industry is the inevitability of it all. The RAV4 already dominates sales charts without these upgrades. Now imagine a more efficient, more capable, better equipped version entering a market where alternatives are getting more expensive and less trusted. This isn't a moonshot gamble, it's a calculated squeeze. And quietly, beneath all of this, Toyota sent another message that few are talking about yet. The 2026 RAV4 is designed to evolve. Software updates, modular hardware, and future-proofed electrification mean this vehicle isn't frozen in time. It can adapt as regulations, fuel prices, and buyer behavior shift. That's why this announcement didn't just excite Toyota fans, it rattled the entire industry, because when the world's largest automaker moves this deliberately, it forces everyone else to react, and as reactions turn into price cuts, delays, and canceled programs, the real winners become obvious. Behind closed doors, this is where panic really starts to set in. Automakers can copy design cues, they can rush facelifts, and they can throw incentives at buyers. But what they can't easily copy is Toyota's patience. The 2026 RAV4 is the result of years of waiting while others overcommitted to risky strategies, and now that patience is turning into leverage. One of the most underreported aspects of the announcement was how openly Toyota talked about consumer fatigue. The CEO acknowledged that buyers are overwhelmed by complexity, confused by charging networks, and frustrated by unreliable tech. That honesty hit hard because it validated what the market data has been quietly showing for months. Toyota isn't guessing anymore, it's responding. The RAV4's interior philosophy reflects that shift. The focus is on durability, usability, and longevity rather than novelty. Toyota emphasized materials that age well, controls that don't break, and systems that don't require constant updates just to function properly. In an era where owners are keeping vehicles longer due to high prices, this becomes a massive selling point. Then there's resale value, the silent killer of many new vehicle launches. Toyota reminded investors that the RAV4 consistently ranks among the strongest in retained value, and the 2026 model is engineered to protect that reputation. Strong resale doesn't just help owners, it stabilizes leasing, keeps monthly payments down, and protects brand trust. That's an ecosystem advantage most rivals no longer have. Fleet buyers also took notice. Rental companies, corporate fleets, and government agencies are looking for lower emissions without infrastructure headaches. The 2026 RAV4 Hybrid checks every box. That means massive volume potential that EV-only competitors simply can't tap into at scale. When fleets move, market share moves with them. Another subtle but powerful signal was Toyota's stance on regulation. Instead of complaining about emissions rules or lobbying for delays, the CEO positioned the RAV4 as compliance ready across multiple markets. That stance resonates globally, especially in regions where infrastructure reality doesn't match political ambition, and while critics argue that this approach lacks boldness, Toyota is proving that bold doesn't always mean extreme. Sometimes bold means resisting pressure, waiting for the right moment, and then moving with scale and precision. The 2026 RAV4 feels like that move. What's becoming clear is that this vehicle isn't designed to dominate headlines for a week. It's designed to dominate sales charts for years. Toyota is building momentum, not spikes. And momentum is far harder for competitors to disrupt once it takes hold. As more details slowly surface and as test vehicles begin to appear, the conversation will only grow louder. Expectations will rise, comparisons will get harsher, and the industry will be forced to respond, not on its own terms, but on Toyota's. Because when the world's most trusted automaker decides to reset the rules in the most competitive segment on the planet, the real impact doesn't hit all at once. It unfolds model year after model year, reshaping the market from the inside out. and that unfolding impact is already visible in the small signals most people overlook. Dealers are rethinking inventory mixes, sales staff are preparing for more educated buyers walking in with sharper questions. Consumers aren't asking, "Is there a hybrid option?" anymore, they're asking, "Why isn't it hybrid?" That shift alone tells you how powerful this announcement really was. Toyota's CEO also touched on something rarely discussed on stage: long-term ownership confidence. Warranty structures, battery health monitoring, and service simplicity were all framed as part of the Rav4 experience, not optional extras. That matters in a world where repair costs are climbing and trust in new tech is fragile. The competitive response so far has been telling. Some brands rushed out vague teasers, others quietly adjusted pricing behind the scenes. A few doubled down on EV messaging, hoping volume will eventually catch up, but none of those moves change the immediate reality buyers are facing in showrooms today. The 2026 RAV4 exists in the present, not in a promised future. Another key element is how Toyota is balancing global and local demands. The RAV4 is being positioned as a vehicle that adapts to different markets without losing its core identity. That flexibility allows Toyota to maintain scale while competitors fragment their lineups trying to please everyone. Consistency becomes a competitive advantage. Toyota also avoided the trap of over-digitization. The CEO specifically emphasized systems that work even when software doesn't. That statement resonated because consumers are tired of paying for features that stop functioning after an update or subscription change. Reliability is becoming the ultimate luxury, and Toyota is leaning into that hard. What makes this especially disruptive is how normal it all feels. There's no shock value gimmick, no extreme styling, no outrageous claims, just a well-timed, well-executed evolution of a product millions of people already trust. That's the kind of disruption that's hardest to fight. As the 2026 RAV4 moves closer to production, pressure will continue to build, reviews will be unforgiving, comparisons will be brutal, every weakness in competing models will be magnified against Toyota's new baseline. And while the industry debates whether this approach is conservative or visionary, Toyota is quietly doing what it has always done best: listening to buyers, controlling costs, and executing at scale. The result isn't just another successful model, it's a shift in how the market defines smart buying, one that continues to expand with every reaction, every comparison, and every buyer who starts asking the same uncomfortable question. That uncomfortable question is spreading fast, and it's changing buying behavior in real time. Why pay more for uncertainty when a proven name is offering efficiency, tech, and reliability in one package? Toyota's CEO didn't say it outright, but the implication was clear. The market doesn't need to be convinced, it just needs to be given a better option. That looming presence is exactly what's forcing boardrooms into emergency mode. Product planners now have to explain how their upcoming models make sense in a world where the 2026 RAV4 exists. Suddenly, selling a non-hybrid compact SUV feels outdated, and pushing buyers toward expensive EVs feels risky. Toyota didn't just introduce a car, it exposed a strategic misalignment across the industry. The CEO also subtly reframed what future-proof really means. Instead of betting everything on one technology, Toyota is spreading risk intelligently. The RAV4 supports stricter emission standards without locking customers into a single energy ecosystem. That flexibility is priceless at a time when governments are revising targets, incentives are disappearing, and consumers are growing skeptical. Another underappreciated shock was how Toyota addressed ownership costs. Maintenance intervals, battery longevity, insurance implications, and repair accessibility were all highlighted. This wasn't marketing fluff. It was a reminder that total cost of ownership still matters more than headline specs. For families and commuters, that message lands harder than any 0 to 60 time ever could. Suppliers felt the impact too. Toyota's focus on proven components and scalable tech sends a signal that experimental high-risk parts may struggle to find volume customers. That shift influences the entire supply chain, from battery manufacturers to software vendors, all recalibrating around Toyota's priorities. And then there's the psychological effect. When the market leader moves confidently in one direction, it validates consumer hesitation elsewhere. Buyers who were unsure about going fully electric now feel justified waiting. Buyers questioning rising vehicle prices now feel empowered to demand more value. Toyota didn't just react to consumer sentiment, it amplified it. Even competitors that don't directly overlap with the RAV4 are paying attention. Midsize SUVs, compact trucks, and even entry-level luxury crossovers will feel pressure as buyers cross-shop more aggressively. aggressively. A well-equipped RAV4 hybrid suddenly becomes the benchmark everything else is compared against. The announcement also hints at Toyota's broader roadmap. If this is how aggressively the RAV4 is being positioned, it raises questions about what's coming next for models like the Corolla Cross, Highlander, and even Tacoma-adjacent crossovers. The RAV4 may be the opening move, not the end game, and that's why the shock hasn't faded. Days later, the conversation isn't dying down, it's intensifying, because the 2026 Toyota RAV4 didn't arrive as a response to the market. It arrived as a correction, and corrections tend to reshape entire industries in ways that only become obvious once it's already too late. That sense of correction is what makes this moment so dangerous for brands that hesitated too long. Toyota's CEO made it clear that the company isn't interested in being loud, it's interested in being right. And right now, the market is rewarding practicality, not promises. The 2026 RAV4 sits perfectly at that intersection. What's quietly happening is a reset of consumer expectations. Features that were once considered premium are now being normalized. Efficiency is assumed, safety is expected, reliability is demanded. Toyota is positioning the RAV4 as the new baseline, not the exception. Once that happens, every other automaker has to justify why their product costs more or delivers less. The used car market will feel this next. When a new RAV4 hybrid becomes more accessible, it pulls down demand for older gas-only SUVs. That accelerates depreciation elsewhere, forcing competitors to rethink leasing strategies and residual forecasts. This is how one product launch can ripple through the financial structure of the entire industry. There's also a cultural shift embedded in this announcement. Toyota isn't selling aspiration, it's selling confidence. The CEO spoke about trust built over decades, not viral launches or social media hype. In a time when consumers feel burned by recalls, software subscriptions, and broken promises, that tone carries serious weight. Even the way Toyota handled electrification sent a message. Instead of apologizing for not going all in on EVs, the CEO doubled down on choice. Choice in how you drive, how you fuel, how you plan for the future. That flexibility matters globally. Europe, North America, and emerging markets all get a version that works without massive retooling. This isn't just a car, it's a global strategy. Even the off-road and adventure angle was calculated. Toyota hinted at a more capable woodland-style variant and enhanced AWD tuning, pulling buyers away from larger, thirstier SUVs. That's market cannibalization done intentionally. Toyota would rather steal from itself than leave those customers for competitors. And while the presentation avoided flashy comparisons, the implications were unavoidable. If the 2026 RAV4 delivers on what Toyota claims, it will force competitors into a brutal dilemma: either lower prices and bleed margins, or maintain pricing and lose volume. In a market already stretched thin, neither option looks good. This is why the announcement felt different. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, it was precise. Toyota didn't promise a future 5 years away. It promised a vehicle buyers can actually afford, fuel, maintain, and trust right now. And as the industry begins to react with rushed announcements, sudden strategic shifts, and quiet program cancellations, the 2026 RAV4 stands at the center of it all, reshaping expectations before it even hits the road.